Hey everybody, Chris Kirkpatrick, the Safe Bet Money Guy here with you, and I'm actually here with Mike Wolf, who is an internationally known real estate investor. He's been investing in cash flow real estate and flipping houses and just doing, pretty much you've done everything in the real estate world over the last 25 to 30 years.
I've done pretty much every strategy known to man at some point. And then as I did that, as I dabbled in a bunch of different things, I figured out what worked, and then I decided to master those things, and I dropped a lot of things I did earlier on, because not everything in real estate, even though it sounds really sexy and looks great on TV, not all that stuff works, and a lot of things change. I mean, it's always, real estate's always shifting, and what you should be doing changes literally, it seems like almost every day these days.
That's awesome, like everything else in the economy, and I talk about that a lot, and just not just with real estate, but with just the financial markets and the economy and everything. And I gotta tell you, before I met Mike, I was totally anti-real estate. I didn't like it. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm from Vermont and the market up here is just terrible. And there are a lot of places around the country and around the world that real estate just does not make sense. And so we're doing this video right now because all the clients and all the people that I talk to online and the people that I work with, they have questions about real estate, because the reality is there's just an affinity for most people in this world. They're drawn to real estate. They want to get invested in real estate. The challenge with that is I see too many people force themselves into bad real estate positions simply because they know they want to be there. They don't know how to get to where they want to go, so they just do anything when they have the opportunity. So what we're doing right now is we're taking the opportunity to put together, I put together some questions, and I just wanted to have a conversation with Mike and give you guys some real tactical, tangible things to think about, consider, and kind of implement if you're interested in getting your real estate portfolio going, right? And so the first thing, Mike, that I have a question for you is, let's say I'm somebody who's interested in starting up my real estate portfolio and you know, I have no money, right? And there's a lot of people out there who are interested, they want real estate, they have no money. What do I do? How do I even have a shot at getting involved in real estate, or do I have to wait and save up thousands and thousands of dollars?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I get asked that a lot. Everybody, wants to know how they can get started right now. Not everybody's got a whole boatload of cash or money hidden under their mattress ready to go. So the good news is it's absolutely 100% doable to start. I actually started in the negatives. When I bought my first revenue property, I had good credit, but I had no down payment. And luckily I was able to apply for a line of credit, and I used that for my down payment. I also applied for a mortgage. That's what got me in the game. And had I known then what I know now, there's a whole bunch of ways you can get started. And so what I like to teach my students and my clients is that we don't have all the resources, you've got to get resourceful. And so what that means, if cash is what you're lacking, there's a whole ton of people out there that have lots of money in their bank, and it's sitting in their bank, which we know does not pay a whole lot of return. There's not a lot of interest in that. So we know that their money is underperforming for them. And the reason they're not investing it is they're scared. They see all the stuff on TV. We hear about the Enrons and the Brexes and all these different scams that go on in real estate. There's a lot of people that are happy to help separate you from your money. So you got to be careful who you trust. So if you can become a trusted advisor to these people, or a solution for them. It all comes down to adding value to other people, because trying to save up either a down payment or trying to save enough to buy a house for cash, that takes a long time, and by the time you save it up, the opportunity has shifted and the home prices are going up.
Sure.
So it's much easier to add value and bring the different resources that you've got. Most people I know that don't have a lot of money, typically they tend to have a lot of time. Well, the cool thing is that I can always create more money. Once you've watched all our pillars, making money you're gonna find isn't that tough.
Totally.
It really isn't. Making money becomes really easy after a while. It doesn't sound like, most people are skeptical of that, but it's totally true. But no matter what I do, I can't make more time. There's nothing that I could possibly do that's gonna free up. Well, you can free up time. We're gonna talk about that when we talk about building teams. But I can't make more than 24 hours in any day, no matter how much money I've got. So there's a lot of doctors out there, just as an example, lawyers. These are busy professionals. They got their practices, they got their businesses going, and they have good cash flow, and quite often they don't have a clue how to put that money to good use. So you need to be a solution for them, show them what you've got. If you have time, you could be also like what we call a bird dog. You can come to somebody like myself, go on meetup.com, go to investor meetups where real estate investors hang out, and go and offer to find people deals. They'll tell you what they're looking for. You can do the door knocking or the cold calling or whatever it is, and you'll basically get a piece of that deal. So there's lots of different ways you can become resourceful and not focus on being so concerned about the money. If you find a great deal, I mean, the money's going to follow. If you actually have the time and you go knocking on doors and you find something under market value, if you're stuck, call me. I will do the deal with you. So you're never going to have to worry about that again, because money is actually really easy. There's people like me that I don't have time to go looking for deals. I do stuff in bulk because it's very easy for me to do that. But I can't go door knocking and do one-off deals anymore like I used to when I was younger.
Sure.
And back in the olden days when my time was less valuable than it is now. So figure out how you can add value to somebody, either another investor or people with money sitting in their bank. Add value to them and get yourself in the game. Once you get yourself in the game, you're going to build that confidence. You're going to be able to go to the next level.
It all compounds.
It all compounds.
Exactly. Now, and that's great. So taking that to the next level, are there any expectations that people have? Because this is going to be new territory, right? Uncharted territory. And how about expectations as far as if you go out and find the money, right? Because you don't have your own money. Right. If you go out and find the money, what should you expect to earn in return? Are there any best practices or anything of that nature?
Well, that's going to shift with the market. I mean, obviously when things were at their lowest, returns on investment were much higher. And back when Las Vegas, that was my first U.S. market I got into, and that market from its peak to its lowest point dropped like 80% in some of the communities in Las Vegas. I know. And at the time when it dropped 80%, I can tell you, I was a kid in a candy store because everybody else was fearful, nobody else was jumping in. I could go pick whatever I wanted. But as time went on, and people start to see you making money, then they want to copy, and then next thing you got some competitors, and more people get into the game. It gets more difficult to find deals. So there's not really a right or wrong. There's not really a set, I would say a set expectation, but always go for the lowest hanging fruit. Go for the easiest money. How can you get that next success story?
And by easiest, do you mean quickest?
Usually quickest. If you're just starting out, then yes, let's get that first deal under your belt and get to your second deal and your third deal. As you do this longer and longer, then it's not necessarily about the quick paycheck. It's more about what can we buy that's going to give us the best return in the long run. So I'll always have that long-term approach. And don't ever, there's so many, I hate to criticize other people in the industry, but there's a lot of stuff out there where they're feeding you this dream that you're going to get rich quick and you're going to do a deal and you're going to be retired. That's not going to happen.
Doesn't work.
I'm going to teach you how to get rich slow in real estate. Doesn't make a very exciting course, but when you retire, you'll have a lot more money if you listen to what I teach you than if you fall for these courses that are charging you $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 for a mentor. These guys are professional marketers. They're very good at convincing you that there's this dream that is just barely out of your reach, and they're going to take you there. Most of these people have never done any real estate, or they're teaching stuff that worked for them a long time ago. Anyway, it drives me crazy. The bottom line is you're not going to get rich quick. If you're already rich, yes, I can show you how to create really good cash flow and passive income, absolutely. But if you're like 99% of the people that I talk to, you're trying to get to that point, you got to build a good foundation, you got to do things right. Doesn't mean you can't make a really good living in year one. Absolutely you can, but you're not going to. It's very unlikely you're going to retire after your first real estate deal.
Well, it's like anything else. If you may be able to do those systems or whatever and hit it and get rich, it probably works on some level, but there's also probably a high likelihood that you're going to fail. And when you fail, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Right. Usually people that make money really quick, it's usually because there's some sort of luck involved.
Sure.
And it's like winning the lottery. If I were to go win the lottery tomorrow, I can't duplicate that. So I'll make that quick paycheck, and I'll probably get pretty arrogant and cocky and think I've figured everything out. And I'll go spend it. I'll start buying Lamborghinis and Ferraris and whatever, all this crap. And then I'm not going to know how to make that second paycheck because I got getting lucky and having a solid strategy that you can duplicate and do over and over and over again, two very different things. And that's why we see so many people that do win the lottery 3 years later, they're flat broke. They're sometimes poorer than they were before.
Most of the time, that's the
almost
case.
always.
Sure.
And that's because they didn't have, it's all mindset.
Yeah.
It's all about having the right strategy. When you have all the different pieces in place, it would be almost impossible for me to lose all my money right now. It'd be very, very difficult. I'd have to try really hard to screw that up because I have systems in place and I got the different fundamentals down. But when I did my very first deal, I did get really lucky on that first deal. I didn't really have the expertise, and I made a lot of money, and I thought I knew it all. And that was actually, it was a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I was happy I had some money to play with, so I could do my next deal. And I was smart enough to know I wanted to keep doing real estate, keep reinvesting as opposed to buying toys. But I also got very, to the point where I was a know-it-all, and I said, I don't need any help, and I don't want to wait for my next I don't want to wait. My first deal took like 2.5 years. And it wasn't a flip. It was I bought it to hold, and the market happened to go up. And then when I made the money, I thought, man, I know everything about real estate. And then I tried to do things I didn't know how to do, and managed to lose most of it. And luckily, I'm still here to talk about it today, because then I got smarter. And instead of being a know-it-all, now I'm a learn-it-all.
Well, and that's why I love your system of real estate investment. It really, that's what attracted me to you, I should say, because like I said, I was not a real estate guy. I didn't think real estate was right for everybody. In fact, I was really skeptical of the real estate market. I thought it was one of those things where people were foolish for wanting to get involved, because I saw the quick cash, and I lived through the crash in Arizona and Vegas and what happened in Florida, and I got directly impacted by that. So I was keeping all real estate at arm's length, and I didn't want to be involved in it. And when I met you, it really started, it took me a long time to research you and check your stuff out and vet you and make sure that all was good, because I'm all about keeping people out of the stock market. I'm all about keeping people's money safe, secure, and liquid, so when they need it, when they find an opportunity, they have access to it, because I believe you need to be engaged in what you're doing. And I think what you do for real estate is an amazing opportunity for people to have security, because the reality is it's really hard to find an asset that is going to give you what the real estate gives you in your program, with the depreciation and the tax advantages and the return. And you can use that for cash flow. You can have that return kind of compound or snowball, and you can put it into more properties. And it's awesome. So you suggest then, if you have no money, is it easier to start with a flip? Is it easier to start with a cash flow property, or what?
Well, there's not a right or wrong to that. Quite often, I do recommend, I'm not opposed to flipping. It's a perfectly good strategy. You need to know what you're doing. There's a lot of ways that you can screw that up, as I did with my second deal. There's definitely ways you can screw that up. But if you know what you're doing and you can find a good opportunity, I really recommend the Texas tax deed auctions. Make sure you know what you're doing before you go there, because you can get smoked on there. But if you know what you're doing, there's a really good opportunity if you want to flip.
And they can call you for that.
And they can call me for that.
Yeah.
And I've got a bunch of videos on that topic that are free. I'm happy to, we'll put a link.
Just go down there. Yeah, we'll
you
put
can watch
a
the
link
videos. But anyway, the bottom line is this: is that eventually you want to be buying properties, holding them, getting that passive income, getting that cash flow, so that you can have that lifestyle of freedom. You can do whatever you want. But quite often you're going to find people that will team up with you they'd rather do a flip because it's exciting, it's glamorous, you see it on TV all the time. It's like, I kind of check and we're going to do a flip together. Yeah. That's sexy, right? So people want to do that. But it doesn't mean that you can't do buy and hold as well. What if you found, let's say, a doctor who had a bunch of money sitting in his bank account, and we know if it's sitting in his bank account, it's not making him very much. So what if you offered that doctor and you said, hey, I'll give you 5% on your money, guaranteed. Be careful with the word guaranteed, because anyway, securities commission. But anyway, if you offered him 5% and he knew he was going to get a check every single month, just like a regular mortgage, he's making 1% at the bank and you're offering 5%. That's a great win. You can then turn around, and you could potentially use it to flip, but you could also use it to do a buy and hold, as long as that buy and hold is going to give you more than 5%. So, right now in Atlanta, we're looking at returns of around 8.5% at this moment,
sweet.
And that's just on the income that comes from the rent, minus the expenses. That's the income that it produces every month.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, you also got the appreciation. If you're paying your lender 5%, you get to keep 100% of that appreciation. So sometimes you're going to do deals with people where they're going to put up the money, you're going to be teamed up, and you're going to split whatever that deal does. And those are usually easier to do with a flip, because most of these people want to see their money back relatively soon. But you're going to get some people, if they're used to making 1% of their money, you offer them 5%, they're never going to ask for that money back. That means they don't have any other opportunities. So that's going to be long-term money, and I would start building that portfolio, because that's where you get your freedom, and that's where you get wealthy, because when those properties appreciate, that is the big win.
Totally.
And make a really boring TV show, get rich slow in real estate.
Get rich slow with Mike Wolf.
You're never going to see that on TV.
Sure.
But the truth of the matter is, that's how I got wealthy, and almost all the most successful people I know got wealthy by holding. Because you get the advantage, you get to depreciate, pay less taxes, you get to keep a lot more of what you earn. The big wins come when those markets, do their thing, and they take off. And the cash flow it makes your investment sustainable. It puts food on the table while you're waiting.
Yep.
And that's really the key, is that when you're a sophisticated investor, I can make money in a down market. So if I were to buy a property in Atlanta tomorrow for $100,000, and let's say after all expenses it puts $800 in my pocket at the end of every month, just as an example. So I have this $800 is great. But if let's say the market were to go down, let's say the property next year was only worth $50,000, it collapsed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still going to be getting that $800 in income. I don't really care what I'm worth on paper. I don't really care what that home is worth, because I'm not going to sell it. And because it's giving me money every month, I don't have to sell it. Whereas people who speculate, they jump in because they see an article in the paper saying home prices going up $1,000 a day. They jump in, and when it stops going up $1,000 a day and starts coming down $2,000 a day, they don't have a strategy. And their only strategy was to hope that it kept going up. I don't like to ever hope. That's gambling.
Sure.
I'm not a gambler. I was never a poker player.
Right.
That's too stressful for me. I can't do that. So I like to do things that are very safe, and I know that I can make even more money when the market comes down, because guess what? That cash flow is going to buy me more properties quicker. And there's also a whole lot of people that are going to jump out of the market. They're going to lose their shirt in the market, and they're going to be not playing in the same playground anymore.
Right.
And so my money, because I have my money still intact, I saw money coming in, I can take advantage of the opportunities when it hits rock bottom, whereas most other people get wiped out because they don't have a strategy for going down. They only have a strategy for going up.
Well, right, and that speculation almost breeds bad behavior.
It
right?
absolutely does.
The economy is going to go through its ups and downs, and it's out of your control. There's absolutely nothing you can do to control what's going to happen around you in the economy and the real estate market. Things are just going to happen. And so when you are in a position where you're speculating and you need that property to perform in a certain period of time, you're just going to make bad decisions. That's just the way it goes. So switching topics a little bit. And as I said at the beginning, a lot of people that I talk to and coach live in regions in the country where real estate's not good, yet they still are invested in real estate, or they want to, they're looking to. Maybe they live in California or Vermont or one of the 100 places where it just doesn't make sense, right? Why would they invest with somebody like you? Because I think you get these questions a lot, but I really think it warrants having this conversation here. That how do they know they can trust you? Do they own the home? Do you own the home? How does that whole relationship work?
First of all, they get 100% ownership of the home. Their name is on title. I will only sell properties to people the way I would buy properties myself. So if I was to go to somebody, and quite often, we see these presentations and people put on these fancy PowerPoints, they show a fancy building on the beach, and then they're going to pool your money. They're going to take a bunch of investors from the room, you're all going to put your money together, and you're going to own shares in this person's company. You don't actually own the building, you own the company. It is very, very easy to bankrupt a company. If we look at somebody like Donald Trump, and I'm not getting political here, that guy owns a bunch of casinos in Atlantic City.
Sure.
And one of his strategies is to go bankrupt every number of years. And anyway, he always wins, and his investors lose. So you don't want. It's very easy to bankrupt a company. How you get rich in real estate is to actually own the real estate. So I'm not going to sell somebody a share in real estate. They're going to own the property. They're going to have 100% ownership of it. I don't retain any ownership. How I make my money? Our teams are buying in bulk from banks. We're fixing them up. We're putting tenants in place. I'm hand-picking the property management team. The same people that look after my properties are looking after my clients' properties. So that gives my investors safety, because I'm in the same game. I'm not going to disappear. I mean, my company is called Mike Wolf Mastery. A lot of companies, they come and go. They take a bunch of people's money, lose it, they come back the next year with a different name. My name has always been Mike Wolf. It's going to continue to be Mike Wolf. I take pride in what I do, and in this industry, there's so much money to be made. Honestly, you don't have to rip people off. But a lot of people don't have a strategy. They just want to everybody wants to get rich quick. I've been doing what I do for a long, long time. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out for you, first of all. I have tons and tons of references. I'm happy to provide them for anybody who's interested.
Totally.
And I welcome people. I do tours to places like Atlanta where I sell a lot of real estate. I invite people to come down there. I pull back the curtain. You get to meet my team. You get to see the homes. You get to see exactly what we do.
That's great.
But I've also had people from all over the world buy properties from us that
awesome.
have never even been in the United States, let alone to Atlanta.
Sure.
And so, but one of the biggest pluses is that that I don't live in Atlanta. I'm actually Canadian. I'm not even promoting anything in my own country.
Sure.
So I will go where the returns are best. And I'm doing the research. My teams and I were doing research to figure out where we should. For me to go build a team, it's not an easy process. It takes time and a lot of money. So you got to make sure you pick the market right. You can't build a team and say, oh, this doesn't work, and then just go build. It's not as easy as just going and building another team. So it just gives you a lot of safety knowing that I'm very unbiased as to where I'm going to invest.
Totally.
I'm not investing in Hawaii because I want to take a vacation there all the time. I'm not promoting Costa Rica. My favorite place on the planet, Costa Rica, I own zero real estate there.
Okay.
So I treat real estate like a business, and there's no emotion in it. I do what makes the most sense. So it really gives you safety, gives you security, and gives you mentorship. Because guess what? When that market starts to go up and it's time to sell, I'm going to let you know so that you can take your money off the table, go to the next market, and hopefully maybe you're selling one in Atlanta and you're buying two in whatever that next city is. Now you're building your portfolio effortlessly. You don't have to be on the front lines figuring this stuff out. You don't have to go build teams. That's
great.
There's so many difficulties. If you're a brand new investor, there's a lot of challenges that over the last 26 years I ironed out. I made a lot of mistakes and learned how to do things better. So instead of making those mistakes yourself, I can lessen the learning curve by a lot.
That's great, because I think one of the big concerns that people have is you don't know where to start, right? You don't know if it's too risky. You don't know what mistakes you can make. You don't know what markets are the best, if it's the right time, if it's the right house, is there something wrong with the house? How much money am I going to have to put into it after I buy it? The cool part is you vet that, and you go through, you buy it in bulk so you get a good discount. People can go through your program and literally not have to pay a premium to do so. Take advantage of your mentorship and the value of what you have, and you've assembled the team and everything is just kind of taken care of. And that's what I love, because it insulates you from making a bad decision and gives you a lot more security, a lot more, as much of a guarantee as you're gonna get when it comes to investing in anything, right?
Exactly. And my program is a lot different. We don't have time to go into all the details, but I do have a webinar specifically as to what we do to protect our investors, to get them a higher return on their investment, to keep the tenants in there longer, to reduce vacancy. I cover that. And so we're going to put a link so these people can access it and watch it themselves. It's a 30-minute webinar. And I'll give you an idea of what we do differently. And these are all things that I've learned over time, because when I first started, trust me, I wish I knew the stuff I know now, because I would have done things a lot differently.
Sure.
So you benefit from all the things that I screwed up on along the way, and you don't have to step on those same landmines that I did. So that's a real key. And the other thing is, a lot of people that actually promote my properties as well, a lot of them are charging their students like $30,000 for mentorship, and they're selling them the same properties. You get mentorship for free. I don't know if you noticed, I kind of have a bit of a passion for real estate. I love teaching it. I love helping people with it. And I know that real estate is every single person on this planet should invest in real estate. It's a game changer if you do it right. But don't, like you said, a lot of people try to force it, and because they've just been told real estate's good, so they just buy anything, or they buy in a local market that makes no sense, or where it's very tenant friendly and they get a bad tenant, and it totally ruins their finances because they bought the wrong property in the wrong market, got the wrong tenant, the wrong team. All these things, if you don't have them all right, if you don't have each of the pieces right, you're not going to get a good result.
Well, and most people want real estate. Most people have the affinity towards real estate. At the same time, most people don't want to be landlords. I'm going to guess that you don't want to be a landlord. If you do, well, who knows? You can do what you want. But the reality is, when you buy real estate in a bad market, not only can you get stuck, you have to deal with bad tenants, you have to deal with stuff going on with your building. When the toilet breaks, you have to fix it. All that stuff, that's all resolved. And you look at your real estate as an investment. You look at your real estate kind of like a mutual fund, right? If you have a mutual fund, you don't care, not that you or I would ever own a mutual fund, but if we did, we wouldn't care where the companies were. We would care that the companies in the mutual fund were just making money.
Exactly.
And if the price ratios and the expense ratios and everything were good and it was a profitable thing, we don't care if the mutual fund is based out of Florida or California or Vermont or New York or wherever. All we care about is that it's making money, it's an investment. And so when you look at investing in real estate like Mike invests in his program, that's how you have to think about it. And so I think, to me, that's a big leap, I guess, for people, or it's a transition. And is there any words of advice as we close here, just kind of guiding people? Because I think that's the biggest emotional barrier for people, is to start viewing real estate as the investment, and it's not going to be the house that you see right down the street. You're not going to be able to check up on it all the time,
right.
And
that's,
all that.
And I think that's actually better. It's actually better that you never see your real estate, because when you see it, you have the tendency, even if you're not managing it, maybe you hire a team, you have a tendency to micromanage it. And it's in the back of your mind all day. If you drive past a property, there's something not quite how you like it. This is a business. And if I owned a McDonald's, the reason I'm owning the McDonald's is so I can go lie on the beach while my employees use the systems that they put in place to create a standardized product. Where if you go to McDonald's here in Vermont, or you go to a McDonald's in Bangkok, Thailand, or you go to one in Hawaii, the product tastes the same, and they get high school kids creating a standardized product. I don't need to say, I've got to fly to my Vermont location today to make sure they're putting the ketchup on right. If you're doing that, why are you even in this business? Why don't you might as well have a 9-to-5 job. Seriously, we're in this to create freedom. So buy where it makes the most sense, buy where you're gonna get the best returns, and do what the richest people on the planet are doing. They're all invested in real estate. So don't take it from me, take it from Warren Buffett, take it from Robert Kiyosaki, take it from Donald Trump, take it from all these people that have very smart lawyers and accountants and people that know that this is going to create wealth. It's also going to help you retain wealth, because the tax benefits from owning real estate, there's no other investment that allows you the same tax benefits. So don't take it from me. Don't just talk to any accountant. A lot of them don't know, but talk to a good accountant who specializes in real estate about depreciation. Talk to the right people. Don't listen to if your neighbor says, oh, real estate's dangerous. If you want to be in the same position as your neighbor forever, then listen to them. Otherwise, listen to people who are much smarter. That's what I do. I follow people that are way smarter than me, have way better resources than me, and I just take what they do and make it work for myself and put my own systems, my own teams in place and roll with it. I didn't invent any of this stuff. But I know that if these people that are billionaires are doing something, I'm going to pay attention. And so you might want to copy me because I'm copying them.
Totally. It's just if you have a lifestyle that you want, you got to find somebody who's where you want to be. Everything, lifestyle, money, everything, and then just emulate it until you get to that same place.
Absolutely, it's huge.
And that's what it's all about. So if you're interested in learning more about this, just click on the link somewhere on this page. Just look around. There's a button around this video somewhere, and follow that link and watch the webinar that he's talking about, because it changed the way I viewed real estate. I'm telling you, it did. That and a lot of awesome conversations with Mike at this point in time. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Is there anything else you'd like to say in closing? Do your research. Always treat this take the emotion out of it. That's the biggest mistake people make, is they get so emotional about things. And just this is your retirement. This is your this is going to take you to a whole different level. And like I said, it's not going to be overnight. You're not going to get rich tomorrow. But if you start putting the things in place and you get even one property, everything that I've got today, I can relate back. I can follow back to that very first property that I almost talked myself out of buying. And it wasn't even that spectacular a deal, but it got me in the game. So get in the game. Get in the game. Get in the game, and remember, people way overestimate what they can do in a short period of time, but way underestimate what they can do in a long period of time. So follow Mike's strategy, and you will see that true in your life. So thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you around.